All right, everyone. We've got a special episode of Financial Clarity for Doctors this week. My name is Corey Janoff, and today I'm joined by a fellow CFP, Certified Financial Planner professional, Michael Okanaka, and he's here to talk to us about a special disability insurance policy that's available exclusively to Emory University residents and fellows that does not require any medical underwriting. Now, many of you as doctors are aware that disability insurance is an important thing you should get to protect your income, but for some people it's hard to come by because you may have some health issues or maybe even unknown health factors that might impact your ability to qualify for a good policy. So, Michael, thanks for joining us. Why don't you start us off just by telling us a little bit about why is disability insurance important, and why should people look at potentially getting a policy outside of whatever their employer provides them through the group benefits?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Corey, today. So why is disability insurance important? I think for both Corey and I, we're a little bit biased, but it's because it protects our clients' income. And as financial planners, without income, it's pretty difficult to really do anything financial planning related, whether it's, to pay off your debts or student loans, to buy a house, start a family, save for your retirement, and especially given how much time, money you spent investing in yourself and in your career. I mean, for a lot of you, especially once you graduate your residency or fellowship program and start your first attending job, if you work even just 20 or 30 years, you have the ability to earn potentially millions or even, tens of millions of dollars over your working career. And so that's definitely where long-term disability insurance, in my opinion, is super important so that we can protect all of those future potential earnings throughout your career. With getting individual disability insurance, the reason why that's so important is, you may actually have some group coverage available to you through your future jobs, through your future employers. However, oftentimes those benefits are just not adequate to protect your full salary and your full income. Oftentimes those are taxable benefits to you. It can be very difficult to qualify under those policies. They have poor definitions of disability, so it can be pretty tricky to qualify for the benefits. And that's where it definitely does make sense to at least have an individual policy to either fill in some of those gaps or to just protect your full income.
Makes sense. Yeah, income is the linchpin to all things finance working for you in your career. So as long as you depend on income, smart to protect it as best as possible. Now, tell us a little bit more about this unique disability policy available to Emory residents and fellows that does not require any medical underwriting.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to touch on here is just what medical underwriting is. So with disability insurance, it's not necessarily something like car insurance where you can call up a company, right, and get a couple, several quotes in a couple of seconds. You actually have to go through medical underwriting, which involves answering health questions, potentially doing a medical exam, so height, weight, blood and urine testing. They can even request medical records. So especially if you have any pre-existing medical conditions, they have the opportunity to essentially look at your lifetime of medical history and to review that information. And then also just for application, if you like rock climbing or skydiving all the time, that can also have an adverse effect on your policy that you can secure. And so, yeah, definitely if you have any plans for that, lock in your disability insurance first. But so with this guaranteed issue policy that, again, we set up for the Emory residents and fellows, really excited to be able to offer this because we can essentially avoid all that medical underwriting, and you can lock in a super comprehensive own occupation disability insurance policy that you can actually also expand in the future to then protect your future attending earnings, salary and income.
And how does that work? So you could lock in a baby policy that covers your residency or fellowship income, but how do you protect the future income?
So yeah, great point there, Corey. So there is a rider on your policy that you can get called a future increase option or future purchase option. And essentially, this is a side pool of monthly benefit that you can access to then increase the base monthly benefit on your policy. So like you said, you kind of lock in that baby policy now that protects your resident salary, but then also it allows you to expand it to protect that future higher income as an attending physician.
That's fantastic. And I think, don't you have some data or statistics about how many people actually get approved without issues versus how many people run into problems with medical underwriting for disability insurance?
We do. Let me see here. So looking at this chart here, this shows us some of the statistics from 2019 with all the major disability insurance companies. And with that, you can see here that about 12% were just flat out declined. So they submitted an application, they answered some of those health questions, and just due to their health history, they just weren't able to qualify for any coverage. And then about 31% received a modified policy, which essentially means that they had something in their medical history that raised some red flags, and that can result in increased premium rates, exclusions for any pre-existing conditions, or sometimes some of the features are taken away that you may want to actually add on your policy, and you just can't add those due to your medical history. So that's very common. If you have really anything in your medical history that you might fall under this category. And then about 10, 11% just withdraw their application, and oftentimes that's because something kind of popped up through the health underwriting process that kind of soured the applicant on eventually moving forward with the policy there. So it all comes out to a little less than about 50% actually get what we call approved as applied, which just means like a perfect best offer. You can see that it actually can be pretty tricky to actually qualify for that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And don't you also have, I think you showed me earlier an example of the typical health questions that are asked in a disability application, and then the ones that the Emory residents have to ask on their special policy?
Yeah, so here's an example of an application for disability insurance with one of the companies that we often recommend. And you can see here the highlighted portion, these are all the health questions that they're asking. So, I mean, there's a lot here that they kind of go through. It's, anything related to your medical history, even family history, and then also what I was talking about earlier with some of the lifestyle stuff. It asks about your tobacco use or, alcohol or substance, drugs.
I found mental health is a big one too. Like if anyone's ever taken medication for anxiety or depression, or if they've seen a therapist, like that often can ding people and impact how they get approved. That's probably the most common thing that I see.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the big ones that we come across a lot.
And then so pull up that example of the application for the Emory policy.
Yeah, so for the Emory policy, here's the application. It's very basic, and really there's just 4 questions here that it asks. And as long as the answer to these 4 questions is no, you can qualify for this policy. So, again, with a lot of those issues that we talked about earlier with the regular traditional medical underwriting, we can essentially bypass that. And then you can actually have some of these health issues or different things, they actually can be covered then through this guaranteed issue policy that we have available for the Emory residents and fellows.
That's fantastic. And I think you might have mentioned it earlier, but aren't there discounts as well in addition to just not having to do medical underwriting? Isn't the policy at a discounted rate compared to if you just bought it on the open market?
Yeah, that's correct. So there's a 20% discounted rate, and also it's a unisex discounted rate, which is actually really important because in the past, a lot of companies did offer this unisex discounted rate, but over the past several years, they've started to disappear with most companies, and especially for women, it can actually cut the cost by about 40 to 50% based on just a regular sex distinct rated policy. Because with disability insurance, they actually do rate it based on gender, male and female. And so, just statistically, due to claims history for women, disability insurance is as about twice expensive compared to men. So when you get that unisex rate, you get the average rates of both males and females. And again, that's where you have those huge, 40 to 50% cost savings. That once you lock that in as a resident or fellow, you can carry that with you throughout your entire career.
Even what if you increase the coverage? Does that discount still apply?
It still applies. Yep. Even when you go to increase your coverage and you're not working at Emory, discounts are all locked in, so you get to carry that with you in the future.
Man, so you get a discounted policy forever. You don't have to answer health questions, and its own occupation, which specialty specific. So if you can't do your specific job, you're considered eligible for benefits. Sign me up. I guess, where can people go to purchase this policy?
Yeah, so we actually have a website. So we'll link that here on this video. So you can go to that. You can actually enroll through the website portal there and fill out an application and get signed up. But if you do have more questions, if you do want to explore other options, Corey and myself, we're independent financial planners. We can work with any company out there, so we're happy to help you explore your different options. So you can also schedule a meeting time with us through our online calendar, which will also link to this video here. And we'd be happy to connect with you for a quick phone call to, again, just to explore and discuss your different options available.
Fantastic. Anything else people should be aware of when it comes to this specific policy or just disability insurance in general?
No, I just think that, this is definitely something that at the very latest, once, you want to lock this in before you graduate from Emory, because once you're an attending, these policies really don't exist. You are going to have to go through the traditional medical underwriting. So this is, really the one time throughout your whole career where we can kind of have I guess like a cheat code and, bypass all that, and you can lock in a super comprehensive policy that, has all the riders that we like to see on your policy. And I think for Corey and myself, we've been working with physicians for a long time, and we've seen it in the past where there are a lot of difficulties when you have to go through the traditional medical underwriting. So again, we're super excited to be able to offer this for Emory residents and fellows.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for taking the time today, Michael.
All right, thanks, Corey.